Well, Vanessa Sturman is a health coach and speaker who helps people improve performance, resilience and long-term health with practical, inclusive food strategies. I'm very pleased to say that Vanessa joins us on the line now. Welcome to the programme.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us. I guess, first of all, these new restrictions, are they the great big breakthrough that we need to tackle obesity in the UK?
So I'd call them very, very welcome new progress as opposed to a breakthrough. There are lots of other elements that really, really impact health and obesity, but these can be so helpful in preventing those impulse buys where people might be consuming lots of calories, and it might encourage retailers to have offers on healthier food.
Aside from advertising, which is, I guess, what kind of draws people in, what other factors are influencing, people's shopping baskets?
So it can be everything from education, income, accessibility, culture. People are very time poor. So many factors. I mean, even genetics, people already being sick or on medication. So there's so many factors, which is why this is just one part of the puzzle that we need.
I mean, at the moment, we live in a world where everything is fast, whether it's, you can click a button on Uber or Deliveroo or any of those kind of things and food is at your door. Are people in the digital world that we're living in today, are they more likely to make bad decisions?
Possibly, with all of the advertising coming at us, as well as all the misinformation. There's a lot of people who feel very confused about what they should be eating, what to put on their plate. They think we have to be perfect in order to be healthy. And a lot of people are not doing even the basics. We know that only about a third of adults are getting 5 pieces of fruit and vegetables a day. Only about 1 in 10 of us are eating the amount of fibre we need a day. And some of this could be remedied with some very simple things like more fruit and vegetables, adding more beans into your meals. Very small things, but a lot of people are not aware of this sort of action they could be taking, especially with all the misinformation.
So how can people cut through the advertising and make healthier choices confidently? You've given a couple of examples there. What else can people do?
So I think they can be very careful about who they follow online. And that, again, can be quite difficult because people can be thinking they're following someone reliable when they're not. So looking out for red flags when someone is being very restrictive in their language, when someone is talking about foods being extremely toxic, when someone's talking about even cut out fruit because of the sugar. Those sorts of things should make people move away from some of those influencers and making sure people are giving helpful information about what they can add in and not fear-mongering. And then the other thing people can do is really have a mindset of what they can add in. So adding in, like I was saying, more of the fruits, the vegetables, the whole grains, the nuts and the seeds, as opposed to focusing on cutting everything out.
I mean, South Asian families are notorious because, we enjoy traditional foods, especially, I mean, I'm from a Punjabi background. Our food is rich. There's a lot of fried foods. When it comes to sweets and desserts, they're ridiculously sweet. They're laced with sugar. How are we able to keep those cultural dishes but make them healthier without losing the flavour?
Yeah, so a lot of the flavour of these dishes comes from herbs and spices. And of course, things like coconut milk, and yes, there's the oil and the fats that make it tasty. We can keep some of that. We can reduce some of the oil and make sure we're using oil instead of ghee and just reduce that in some of our curries. We can use more legumes, so more beans, more lentils, swapping out some of that meat for the beans and the lentils. Make more vegetable dishes, so taking some of those wonderful traditional vegetable dishes and giving them a bit more of a centerpiece on the table. And then when it comes to some of those fried foods, have some of them. We don't have to give everything up. But like I said, really focus on those main dishes that are made a bit healthier with more plant protein, more beans, more lentils, more tofu, more vegetables. And maybe with some of the more fried things, have a bits of it fried, but you can also bake some of these treats as well. There's small tweaks where you can still have the same food, but it's a bit healthier.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays is the age of the air fryer, and there's, you don't necessarily have to deep fry your samosas and your pakoras. You can actually air fry them nowadays, you find, as well. So there's always other alternatives. In January, there's going to be restrictions on unhealthy food adverts that are specifically directed at children. Is there more, though, that the government should be doing?
There is, and again, it's very welcome having these restrictions on adverts, but there's so much more we can be doing, again, in terms of what we're helping the parents do, so making sure healthy food's more accessible, making sure everyone understands that they need to build in more fruits and vegetables, and helping people understand how to cook these. But there's also a lot we can be doing in schools. So while we do teach children in schools a bit about nutrition, it could be much more consistent, go much more in depth. And we could also look at the school meals. There have been some campaigns about getting more plant-based food into schools, which can really help with obesity and help prevent other lifestyle diseases. But again, this needs to be even more consistent, and it really needs to be supported by schools across the country.
I mean, we all remember the documentary series that Jamie Oliver did when he went into schools, Jamie's School Dinners. And have you seen, or do you feel like there has been a change in school dinners over the years? Are we on the way to getting healthier foods in schools?
There's certainly been progress, and what Jamie Oliver did was fantastic, and it really made everyone aware of what was happening, but not enough is being done. We know, again, that children are also not getting enough fibre, and 1 in 10 is getting enough fibre. They hit even less of their 5 pieces of fruit and veg a day than their parents and other adults. So we know not enough is being done. We know that childhood obesity continues to rise. So while we've got a bit of an idea that, yes, we need to do something, it needs to go so much further.
So with all of that in mind then, if there was if you could wave your magic wand and there was one change that you'd like to see in order to help people eat better, what would that one change be?
That is a very, very hard question, because there are all of these elements that need changing. But I think it would be to really have a big change in the schools, not just with the education side of things, but with the school meals, bringing in much more plant-based food, plant protein, teaching the kids how to cook properly, and getting their parents involved as part of those programs as well.
And there's lots of schools nowadays that have got their own kind of fruit and veg gardens and stuff like that. So that's, kind of getting kids aware of fruit and vegetables from the get-go, from a very young age. Finally then, if people want to kind of follow you and get more, whether it be advice and tips or whatever, where can people kind of track your whereabouts and see what you're up to? I'm assuming you're on the usual kind of socials and stuff.
Yes, indeed. I'm on pretty much all of the socials, and people can just type in Vanessa Sturman, and I'll come up, whether it's on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. And there's lots of tips and advice there.
Wonderful. Vanessa Sturman, health coach and speaker, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much.